All right, there we go. Now maybe y'all can hear me. All right, sorry, we're just going through the motions here, trying to get this right, making sure we got everything happening and making sure it's all good. And I think we got it. Let's see, why can't I hear anything? All right, there we go. Now maybe y'all can hear me. There we go. I was just checking to make sure. All right, sorry, we're just okay. Here we go. Let's push this out and see what happens and see if we can't get some folks to hop on here and join in and all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to be talking about the Steelers. We're going to be talking about them Flyers, man. How about them Flyers jumping out? What a great game that was to watch. So that's going to be really cool. I'm going to talk about that here a little bit too. Let me just get some tweets out here. Flyers, yay! Okay. All right. Well, I would like to thank you all for hopping on and joining us, and all that other good fun stuff. And we're going to be talking a little bit of sports here, a little bit before the game, especially coming up today. There's two very, very, very important games coming up today. And I can't wait to get rolling on this kind of stuff here because this is going to be some exciting games. Penn State's playing today in Ann Arbor. They'll be playing at the Big House. So that's number 4 Michigan against number 10 Penn State. And I gotta tell you, oh my, oh my, oh my, that's gonna be an awesome, awesome game. I think that has the makings of a game of the ages there. I'm gonna say. For that game there because I just think that these two teams are going to be putting on a good show, and I think it's going to be a really good game between these guys. I really like the Penn State team for this. So, I know it kind of sounds crazy, but that's kind of how I feel. I think that Penn State really has a good shot at taking this game, and I really think that they'll be coming out of there with the victory. And how could you not? Penn State's been playing really, really well the last couple of weeks, and they're ranked 10th in the nation. So I mean, I like what they're doing. I think this is going to be a really good test for Penn State, especially in Ann Arbor. Hostile territory. All that other happiness. And it's just going to be a tough game all the way around for Penn State. But I think it's a winnable game for these guys. I think this is something that can really fly for them. I think this is a game where they can take control, put their mark. If Sean Clifford can have a good day, okay, and if he is capable of taking over and keeping the ball, and then we need to have Singleton having a good day as well too. If they can get the run game established and keep Michigan off the field, I think that's going to be keys to victory for Penn State this weekend is to keep the Michigan Wolverines off the field and to have Sean Clifford out there playing well and will the defense be able to take care of business? That's going to be the key because you need Porter Jr. to have a good day. You need to have Chomp Johnson to have a good day. You need that defense to be able to continue rolling on what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. And that's been pretty much limiting the run game for the offensive line like they did for Northwestern. They did the same thing against Purdue. They did the same thing against Central Michigan and Auburn, too, for that matter as well, where they limited their running game and made those teams one-dimensional so that they basically had to throw to win the game. So, I mean, that's all fine and great, but you need quarterbacks and receivers and all the other great stuff for those guys to be able to take care of business for that. And like I said, I think this is going to be a really good test for Penn State this weekend. The game is coming up here in a couple hours. They landed in Ann Arbor last night. Or the other day, I think it was Thursday, they were there, so they got to do some practice and everything like that. I'm excited about this game. I really think this is going to be a good Penn State game, and I think they're going to be able to roll really well. Like I said, this is going to be one of those game of the ages. I think this is going to be one of those all-time shootout games that you're just going to have. To be honest with you, if all things go the way that they more than likely will, this is not going to be a shootout. This is going to be one of those slog fests where it's just going to be mano a mano, and it's going to be run game against run game. And I mean, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. And I'm hoping for a good matchup with these guys. And I think it's going to be pretty good. For Penn State, hopefully they'll come out on the winning side. Wouldn't that be great? We are Penn State. But I think it's going to be a good call for Sean Clifford to come out there. We need to have Singleton they need to establish that ground game early, and get it rolling and get it producing, because when you have a good ground game, that helps to keep the other offense off the field. That helps to move the chains, things of that nature. I'm hoping to see Strange to continue on with his pass catching and touchdown catching abilities as well. So I'm looking for Penn State to have a good offensive game today against the boys up there in Ann Arbor. But all in all, though, I still think it's going to be a tough game for Penn State this weekend. So, it is what it is. It's going to be one of those things. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but it's one of those measuring stick games for Penn State. Yes, they are undefeated, and they're coming in 5-0, and allowing for this game to come in like this. It's a measuring stick for Penn State, and if they're not able to live up to the measuring stick, well then you know what's gonna happen, right? So I hope that Franklin has these guys prepared, and I hope this is going to be another fine example of a Penn State victory. We would like to see that for sure. So let's move into something a little bit more fun, shall we? All right. So you guys know that I'm SteelFlyers, and so that means I'm a Steelers fan and a Flyers fan. I'm also a fan of the NFL. I'm a fan of the NHL. I'm also a fan of Formula One. I'm also a fan of college football and all of college sports. I'm also a fan of baseball, which, hey, how about them fighting Phils? Way to go, guys. Ring that bell, okay? You know what I mean? Got to get it done there in Philly. What a great win, and seeing that sea of red. I mean, that is just so awesome, right? So we cover all the sports, even though we have some favorites. So, all right. Speaking of Philadelphia and those fighting Phils and their great win and their great home run and all that, that's great. And we're going to get into the Eagles here in a little bit and some of the NFL stuff here in a little bit. But how about them Phillies? Doing pretty good and taking care of business. So go on, Phillies, and ring the bell. There you go. All right. So speaking of other Philadelphia teams, and no, we're not talking about the Eagles. No. We're going to talk about the Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring you the start of the Tortorella era. I have been overly critical of this coach over the years that I've been doing this now for 2 years, because I wasn't really a fan of the man himself. I've always respected his coaching abilities. I've always respected his ability to get teams to produce. I've always liked how he's been able to get goaltenders to have good seasons and things of that nature. I I'm just not like I said, I'm just not a fan of him as a person or anything else like that. I could care less about that. All I really care about is how is he coaching this team. And to answer that question, I have to put on the happy face because there's a lot of good things that Tortorella is doing for this organization that I think needs to be done in this organization, and that is kicking these guys in the teeth a little bit and cracking them upside the head a little bit, not necessarily physically, but maybe psychologically, emotionally, or something like that, because this team needs to get kicked in the pants. And they need to get up off their duff, okay, and start taking care of business. He's making them accountable. I love that about any coach. When you make your players accountable, that makes them have more buy-in. That makes them have more want to. That makes them want to be a better player. Go figure. I mean, come on. It's not rocket science here, people. So, with that being said, you know what I mean. The Tortorella effect is in full swing here, folks. Camp, first day, no pucks. Jim Jackson was astonished at that. That's the first time he's ever seen that in his 30 years in broadcasting. And I have to say that I was a little bit shocked at that. I know that when coaches come in, like when AV came in and he was, BNF and Flyer and, the whole 9 yards and all this other stuff, that's all fine and great. But, you have to also wear the big boy pants and he wasn't wearing the big boy pants. Anyway, beside that point, Tortorella's the real deal here coming into Philadelphia. Training camp was tough. It was hard. Guys either made it or didn't make it. Okay. Now, fast forward to game 1 against the New Jersey Devils. And New Jersey scores first. It was kind of a soft goal led in by Carter Hart. It was a little bit of a breakdown on the defense in front of him as well, too. But it was still a soft goal. And I'm like, all right, this is not going to go well. This isn't going to go well. And look, this is a couple weeks last week or earlier this week, we had a preview show with Jim Jackson on the Hockey Writers Inc. And we got to sit down and talk to Jim. And Jim has a very unique perspective on this team because he's not necessarily working for the Flyers, even though he does kind of work for the Flyers. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's complicated. But the fact is that he's a very passionate person about the team, but he's also very truthful. And that's one of the reasons why I love Jim and I love his broadcasting style and everything like that. So, but we got a chance to sit down and talk with him. And he said, too, that this whole Tortorella thing is the real deal. And he has a relationship with Tortorella. He's known Tortorella for a long, long time. And he said this Tortorella coach is a real deal. I mean, the fact that he shocked Jimmy by not having pucks on the first day of training camp. As the game is going along, I'm starting to see some things that I haven't seen out of the Philadelphia Flyers in almost 2 years. What I've seen out of the Flyers that I haven't seen in almost 2 years is want to. Really? All right. Something else that I saw, too, that I haven't seen out of the Philadelphia Flyers team in almost 2 years. Getting into the dirty areas and winning the battles. Okay, I'm pinching myself. Okay, I'm awake. And then the goal is scored, and it's tied up. Still pinching myself, because this can't really be real. And the game is tied up, and I'm like, wow, all right, that was a pretty good period, all things considered. There was a breakdown. The guys are still kind of getting their legs. They had a week from the end of training camp, last preseason game, until this first game against the New Jersey Devils. I'm not taking anything away from New Jersey because they were also Hischier-less, so they did not have Hischier, their captain, was not in the lineup tonight, or the night against the Devils. So, but I'm not making excuses for that, okay? Because I'm not. Because let's face it, Philadelphia was without Atkins. They were without Ristolainen. Okay, they're gonna be without Ellis. They're without Couturier. Now, good news, Joel played. Farabee was in the lineup. Was playing really well. Okay. In the offseason, Joel Farabee injures his back or his neck working out. Has the same procedure that Jack Eichel got. And is now playing hockey. He's one of 3 or 4 players, I believe, in the whole league that's had this procedure done. And he's playing hockey, and he looks like he's playing pretty well. Bonus. The 2 goals in 23 seconds is almost a record. The record is 22 seconds by Claude Giroux. As far as goals, the fastest goals, the shortest time in between the 2 goals for the Flyers was held by Claude Giroux. That's 22 seconds. Still is the record, but they were 23 seconds. I'll take that all day long. I saw something that I haven't seen in a Philadelphia orange and black uniform in 2 years, and that is fight. I saw guys sticking up for each other. Excuse me. I saw guys putting it out there on the line for each other. I'm seeing that us against the world mentality for the Flyers, and that's all cool. But I'm seeing something that I haven't seen, and that's the team rallying around each other, supporting each other. Like when a defenseman pinches in, the winger slots over to the point. That's called support, right? You know, when a guy goes in for the offensive push, you gotta have somebody swing back out to cover the point and the back end because somebody else is committed. Yeah, I mean, you guys get this, right? I mean, this is how you guys know how this works, right? Okay, this is hockey, okay? That's how you're supposed to play freaking hockey. And it just seems like the guys on the ice are all on the same page. Wait a minute. We're talking about the Flyers here, and they're all on the same page. Still pinching myself, I think, maybe. Pleasantly surprised. Very pleasantly surprised. Aside from that soft goal, and then the power play goal that was inevitable, that was going to come from New Jersey. I thought Carter Hart actually played really well. I felt that he had good technique. He was square to the shooter. He wasn't letting up these big, juicy rebounds that he's been doing as of late. I mean, this is his first action since last April. And I thought he looked pretty good. All things considered, this being his first action, for that amount of time off. So, all right. I like it. I like it. I'm happy to see Carter Hart doing well. I'm happy to see Carter Hart playing well, and that's great. I'm really excited. I have been excited about this Flyers season because there's very low expectations of the team. That kind of just makes it feel like the pressure's off. You know what I mean? Like, we're not really expecting to win, so if we do, cool. And if we don't, well, we were already expecting that. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is. You know what I mean? So, I'm expecting more of this. So, I would like to see more wins. I think we're going to see more wins. Jimmy has said it on his stuff. He said it on our show. He said it in a bunch of other places, and I have to agree with him 110%. And the power play needs to be improved in order for the Flyers to look. If you look at the numbers from last year, and if you just improve the power play by, say, a couple of points here or there, that's an extra, that might actually work out to an actual win here or there. You know what I mean? So just getting a power play would be, please, can we get right? Rocky Thompson is brought in as the power play specialist, and I have to tell you, although folks speak highly of him, I'm a little bit suspect as far as how this is going to work out with him. You know what I mean? I just we'll have to see. We'll have to see because he didn't have a very good record as far as at San Jose. San Jose was not far behind the Flyers. They were at 14%, where the Flyers were at 12%. So, okay, that's only a 2% difference. I hope he's more of an impact than 2%. Although 2% would be an improvement for Philadelphia. I think they need a little bit more than that. I think. Vancouver Canucks today at 4:00. And this also looks like this could be a winnable game for the Philadelphia Flyers. Because I'm here to tell you the next couple after Saturday's game is Tampa Bay and Florida. So, and Tampa Bay is just flown out of the gates this year so far in first two wins against Columbus and New York. And Florida, although I think they're going to be a bit of a different team this year because without Huberdeau and obviously without Giroux, and they brought in, Kachuk and everything. So we'll see how that goes there in Florida. I'm going to be interested to see how Florida plays this year because I watched a lot of Florida games last year, even before Giroux was part of the team, just because Huberdeau, I really like Huberdeau. I think he's one of those dynamic players that, although he's not exactly the best defensive responsible player, but he sure can put up some points. And holy smokes, I mean, the guy really can score. And so I'm really excited to see how this is all going to go down and everything like that. Speaking of the Flyers and how things have gone down, I also want to say this too. I've watched the Standard, the little vignettes or whatever that the Flyers have put out for their show called The Standard. And although I have to say I very much like the fact that Bill Clement is the one doing the narration. And look, I'm always interested in like insights into teams and how things are done and the nuts and bolts of things and everything like that. So I always like those documentaries of behind the scenes of during the season or training camp. Now I'm not a fan of the Hard Knocks thing just because that's more glorified, scripted. I just like if you're going to narrate and then show me scenes and then give me little glimpses of things that are actually happening. I'd much rather see that than, specific segments of shows and things like that on Hard Knocks. Not that there's anything wrong with Hard Knocks. I'm just not interested in that format. But the standard come out for Philadelphia Flyers, and there's 3 episodes, I think. I think there's going to be one more. That is long overdue in Philadelphia, quote unquote, the standard. Mike Tomlin, Steelers head coach, big proponent of those 2 words, the standard. And his infamous quote is always, the standard is the standard. And we'll get into why. We'll get into that a little bit here in a minute. But Philadelphia needs to establish that as well. They need to establish an identity because they have not had one in the last 2 years. With the pause, the pandemic, and then going into the bubble, and then the COVID-shortened season, and then last year, and then everything that happened last year. This team, in my mind, and I've just come to this revelation right now, I'm going to give this team a clean slate. Okay? Because everything that's happened in the past is in the past. And none of that has anything to do with what's going on right now. It's a different team. Yes, there are some of the same guys, but it's a different team. It's a different philosophy. It's a different coach. You still have the same kind of ownership, which, look, I have my issues with ownership, okay? But that's me, okay? That's my opinion. I feel things... I have my opinions like everybody else. And we all know about everybody's opinions because everybody got one. You know what I mean? So, but the team itself, so far, what I've seen on the ice, because let's say it, folks, preseason stunk, but it was gonna. And that's what it's supposed to be for. It's supposed to be who's going to be on the boat and who's not going to be on the boat. And we found out who's going to be able to make it. And that's one of the things that I think is really good about a very difficult training camp that Tortorella was able to hold. So I'm excited about the Flyers season. I don't have the expectations of wins. I would love, this is especially for you, Jimmy, I would love to see this team make the playoffs. However, my analytical and my logical brain says, anyway, it just is not, it just doesn't look good for them to make the playoffs this year with all the other teams around them getting better. New Jersey has gotten better. New York has gotten better. I think, Boston has gotten better. I think Washington has gotten a little better. Yeah, they've gotten older and things like that, but look, you still got Ovechkin. And same thing with Pittsburgh. Yeah, they're older, but they still got Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. Okay. Until you beat these guys, okay, I'm talking about the Buffaloes, because Buffalo got better too. Islanders, not so much. We'll have to see how the Islanders work out. But all the other teams around us are good and better, and it's a really tough league, and it's just going to be a tough slog, I think, this year for the Flyers. If they make the playoffs, bonus, but not expecting. So that's why I think it's going to be a little bit of a different year, because we're not expecting, and if we get it, cool, and if not, well, we weren't really expecting it anyway, so all right. With that, folks, I got to tell you something. I had a chance to witness the Kenny Pickett era start in person live. That's right. was at the Jets game, saw Kenny Pickett trounce out onto the field at the start of the second half because everybody was looking down there and everybody was saying, "Oh, Trubisky's got a hat on and Kenny's got a helmet. Trubisky's got a hat on and Kenny's got a helmet." And he came out into the game. Oh my gosh. And the crowd went ape snot. And he scored 2 touchdowns by himself. Still couldn't win. And then not long after that, Renegade played and the whole stadium was going freaking apple cider. Okay? But unfortunately, it didn't translate to a win. But we saw some good things. We saw Kenny Pickett take that team and put it on his back and absolutely try to win the game. Now, we haven't seen that since Ben, and, there's the shell of Ben, was last year and the year previously. But this kid has some fight. This kid has some will. He has some 1-2. He put the team on his back. He, scored 2 touchdowns running the ball. Okay. I respect that. I have a lot of respect for that. He was said to be the most prepared quarterback to come out of college and play in the NFL. All right, here's your shot. So, start against the Bills. Ooh. Up there in New York. Ooh. Ooh. Without some of your key guys. Ooh. Starting to look a little ugly on this game here. And, oh man, the game against the Bills was just ugly. However, there was some bright spots. I still saw the same thing out of Kenny Pickett. The fight. I still saw he's got some connection with Pickens. Man, I'm going to tell you something, man. That Pickens kid, now I got a good buddy, 5-star matchup, who does great stuff for the Steelers, and he's a big Dogs fan. And he was telling me about this kid, and he was like, man, this guy is going to be the real deal. And then I started watching some of the Bulldog games, and then, and everything. And he only played in, he didn't even play in all of them last year either. He only played in 6 or 7, right? He missed a third of the year or something crazy. And, man, this kid, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Randy Moss. He's got that size, he's got that reach, but he just catches the flipping ball. We saw him extend one hand, right, and make that catch. And we're just seeing this guy. I think he's going to be that connection, Pickens to Perkins. Yeah, say that fast 3 times. Pickens to Perkins, Pickens to Perkins, Pickens to Perkins. I'd like to say it 3 times in a game. Wouldn't that be nice? That's 3 touchdown passes. Hey, all right, that's 21 points. If the Steelers score 21 points in a game, they will probably win. Oh my gosh! Yeah, we just got to get him to the 21 points, right? See? Okay. I think Najee's banged up. I think he's hurt. I think he's playing hurt. I really think that's the case. Wayans, whoa, like that kid. Really like that guy, man. He runs north and south. I like that, north and south. It reminds me of a Jerome Bettis. I like guys that run north and south. As a old lineman who used to play center, I'm here to tell you that I like running the football with a running back that runs north and south. He hits the hole and boom, gone, right? Guys that don't run like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Like we saw with Le'Veon Bell, he was very patient. He let the hole develop. That's cool. I'm all for that. Najee's not quite like that running back style. He's more of he's going to make a decision. If it's not there, boom, he's making another decision. He's going somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I think that he needs to mature a little bit and let the holes develop. let things happen in front of him. Okay? I think he's running past the game. Okay? He's still using this. He just needs to let it happen, I think. I also think, too, that he needs to be utilized more as a pass catcher like they did with Le'Veon Bell because he has that quote-unquote talent. I want to see it. Do you know that last game was the first time we saw 2 actual plays to Derek Watt? Yes, that's right. There's another Watt on the team. Hey, what do you know? Hey, what if we use him like we're supposed to? I mean, we're paying the guy $3 million a year. What? To be the gunner on special teams? Come on. The guy's got some talent. Put him out there in the game. Let's see it. Let's see it. I also think, too, that some other things are starting to take shape, and that's the wide receiver room. Chase Claypool, your stock is down. Okay? I'm sorry. And so is Dante Johnson's stock. I think you might see a shift here because Pickens started against the Bills, okay, and our boy Gunnar Olszewski or Olszewski or whatever was not on the field, and frankly, I don't think he's probably going to be coming back. To be honest with you, they need to put a different guy back there running the kicks. Not that I mean, he was better than Ray, but okay. Need you to hold on to the ball, dude. Need you to hold on to the ball. So I think some changes are going to happen here over the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping there is. And I think we're going to see Miles Austin come out and take some, or at least be on the field. He might even be, like, I would even put him back there as the kick returner. I mean, look at what they did with AB. AB was running back kicks long before he was starting as a wide receiver. I think we might also see Miles Boykin out there as well, too, as far as wide receivers are concerned. And lower roles for Claypool and some of the others on there. Because also we're looking at some injuries to Freiermuth. Folks, look, I got to tell you something here, man. Freiermuth, one of the best tight ends, I think, going, but, man, this is his 3rd concussion in, 2 years, okay? So he's in concussion protocol. That's not good. Terrell Edmonds is still in concussion protocol as well. That's not good either. Both of those 2 players will not be playing in the game here against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Speaking of which... Yeah, boy, don't the Steelers have a tough schedule. I mean, they had some teams they could have won against, but they kind of tossed that out with the bathwater. Like, oh, well, no, not gonna. I think if we would have started Kenny Pickett at the beginning of the year, like they should have, I think we could have probably be 2-3 or 3-2, maybe. I mean, because it really looked like Trubisky was just phoning it in. You know? He wasn't taking any chances. The stuff that he was... The shots that he was taking downfield were not really, not really connecting, and he didn't really have any kind of, chemistry really with anybody, and, hey, what do I know? T.J. Watt getting closer to coming back. Boy, is that going to be some good news for Steelers fans as well, too, man. Holy smokes. Can't wait to see that guy come back, for sure. So, all right. We got to get into this now because we got to break this down, right? The Eagles, holy smokes, man. The best team in football right now, 5-0. How about that? Go Eagles. All right, folks. On this Saturday morning, everybody's still probably drinking their cup of Joe or whatever. I'm not a Joe drinker. I'm a tea drinker, so I drink some tea. And I'm going to have a little beverage, and if you feel so inclined, you have your sip of coffee as well and a bite of your donut. Oh, that's better. Gets those pipes nice and worked out. So, we've covered the Flyers, we've covered the Steelers, we've covered Penn State. What's next? Hey, let's talk about some Formula One. What do you think? I like it. All right, we're going to talk about a little bit of Formula One here. Congratulations to Max Verstappen on winning the Drivers' Championship. Woo, doggies. That's 2 for you now, so congratulations. Unfortunately, Red Bull's got some sanctions that they might have to deal with. So I still think he's going to get the Drivers' Championship, but I don't know about how everything else is going to work out for Red Bull this year, as they violated the financial rules and overspent. They're allowed to spend up to $145 million. But if you go over that, which Red Bull is being accused of doing, allegedly, that's punishable by the FIA, and that's the governing body, and they will punish and see how that's going to work out. So, I think there's going to be a sanction that's going to happen, and we'll see. But it's saying I have excellent. Okay, we're fighting it. We're fighting the stream. It's fighting. It's fighting to come on. But, yeah, really. I'm not sure about what's going to happen with Red Bull. I think there's going to be some sanctions that are going to come down, and that might cost them the Constructors' Championship this year. As far as, and that's where it's going to be, because does the car still meet the current regulations and specs? Yes, it does, but you overspent money that you shouldn't have spent to get to that point. So that's kind of where I'm drawing the line there on that. You still broke the rules, and so when you break the rules, there's consequences when you break the rules, and so there you go. The Ferraris, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Oh, look, there's still 5 or 6 races, or 4 or 5 races left, I believe, or no, I think there's only a couple, 2 or 3 races left. And Ferrari, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, you guys were leading races, you guys were winning races, or you were trying to win races, and then it just didn't work out because either your car let you down or your team let you down. Meaning your strategy people, your pit crew. I mean, I foresee sweeping changes coming to Maranello after this season. I'm hoping there is. These are some very uncharacteristic Ferrari gaffes, if you will, this season, as far as pit crews and strategy and things of that nature that you just don't see from some of the top. I mean, Ferrari, been there since the beginning. One of the top teams out there, one of the top cars out there, and this is how they're doing it to Leclerc and Sainz. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? So, some big sweeping changes for next year. Alonso going to be driving for a different team. Ricardo probably going to be out. I don't know if he's going to still catch a drive or not. I don't know. Vettel is retiring at the end of this year as well, too. So there's going to be some changes coming. And I believe that they delayed the major rule changes. Now, we did see some rule changes for this year, but I think the major rule changes start in 2023. And or unless they push them back to 2024. But major changes coming for the cars and things of that nature coming up for next year for Formula One. So there you go. All right, now here comes the fun part, and it still says that I'm erring, but I'm still streaming, so I guess we're gonna keep it rolling. Gotta talk a little bit about them Eagles. Man, how about that? 5-0. One of the best teams of football right now going. And I have to say I'm a little bit shocked, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting the